Okay, Jason Boomo, JM on the fly, and we're going to do the JM mouse for you. Check this guy out. Do a quick little spin of this guy. See, we got a little white underbelly. I'll show you how we get that compared to just pure brown like the mice that you see a lot of times. Let me get a little closer view here. Try and zoom in a bit. Get it on the mouse there. And you can check that guy out. Pretty little version. Cute little guy. Fun to fish. There's a couple of his buddies. We got, whatever, all kinds of neat looking mice. JM mouse, let's get this baby tied and get things going here. Okay, we'll set that guy with his buddies. I have a 5/0 extra long hook. I have leather, which this was like a moccasin type of thing that you build. So whatever, just any type of thin leather that you're going to use. I cut a nice little strip of that I use for the ears. Pop it right through. Basically pinch this baby together. Cut the shape of your ears out. And then just pop it through the middle, so it looks like that. And I'll turn this so you can see what you got going on there. See that? That's that. Okay. Now, next thing we're going to use is, can't beat these little waspy Primo hair in a tan color. That seems to be my favorite, but you can tie them in whatever you want. Again, a 5/0 extra long hook, so we get some good gap on this. And if you want to tie smaller mice, you could go with a smaller hook, whatever size. Just kind of match it up. Hook's not important, just so it has enough of gap. We tie this fly with a flat bottom, so we could, and that's this GSP. This is 200 denier. This stuff is very tough stuff. Excellent for binding. In fact, it's that good for binding that we gotta watch what we do here. Okay. Anyway, I can back up on that just a little bit. Let me get up there so it's not zooming in on other things. Back off on that a little bit. Okay. First thing we need. It's hard to tie a mouse if you don't have a tail, so again, another nice strip of the leather. Whatever, just cut it to a point. Keep it long enough that it looks like a tail. Nothing too fancy about that. Lash that onto the hook at the bottom. So we got our ears, we got all our leather in, our ears and our tail. So we're done with that. Now we go to the hair. Okay. So we're going to take our hair, and we're always going to cut a nice little section of it. Hold it by the tips. We're going to pull out the fibers, and we're going to add that into, I like to just keep the ends, try and keep it close to the end, like that. 2 wraps, and then we're going to just lay that thing on. That's going to be right there at the back, and kind of covering up that tail a little bit. Again, wrap front. This time here we're going to trim all the nubs of the hair. Okay, and we really want to do it so that there's hardly anything on the bottom. If you see that, we have hardly any hair in the bottom. Everything's right out the back for this particular guy. Next product we're going to use, we're going to take some either whatever, EP fiber or just some type of crinkly hair. And that is what's going to give us that white on the bottom. So you just cut that into little snips like that. And we'll tie that in so that that sticks down and under the bottom. And if you look at that, you can see we just, all that does is just give us a little extra weight down here and starts to form our belly. Working front a little bit. Again, all it is cutting pieces of deer hair, holding them by the tips, combing them out. You could use a comb if you want. These are pretty clean, I'll tell you that. Now this one I'm going to lay kind of to the camera side like this, and I'm going to pull the fibers something like that, and then we'll do a couple wraps and put that right in place there. And I'm going to put another chunk just like that on my side. And we're going to just kind of zip through this because everything's repetitive after this stage. Again, just catching that on my side, pull, nice wrap through, work right to the front, press down, clean the stubs again, and we're going to get repetitive now. We're going to do the same thing over and over again. That's where I'm cutting around like this. We're going to come to the bottom. We're going to splay that out. We're going to cut anything that doesn't allow this to lay flat. Okay? So anything that doesn't allow that to sit flat, we're going to get out of there. Again, we're going to come back, wrap right to the intersection there. Again, we're going to take another piece of our EP fiber and put some more material underneath here for the belly. You can see what that belly's looking like now. Again, just lay that in, wrap on it, and when we glue that down, that'll all be splayed out and have a nice white belly to it. Again, we're just going to keep repeating these steps and try and buzz this out pretty quick. I gotta just zip through this real quick and get up to the front. Again, just catching the tips, splay, let that there. Again, combing out, and again that was to the camera side. This will be to my side. Just like that. Walk that baby right through there, wrap to the front. Again, press down. Everything's pressed flat, okay? So everything that we're doing, we're pressing flat, like that. Then we come to the bottom side, we can reach inside and pick out all the protruding hairs so that we see our fur again. I mean our hair, our belly hair again. And all this stuff gets completely, all the tag hair gets completely trimmed off. See, we're getting rid of all this. Okay, so if you can see what I'm doing, that's with every step. Okay. And you can see what that looks like. And again, that's all you're doing. You just keep completing steps. Just like that. Again, every time. Make sure we fan these out and everything's sitting the way we want it. Grab another piece of our belly material. Cut that off. Take another snip. Everything here is repetitive, so we're doing the same thing one after another. Again, just tie that on top. Put this guy underneath, put this guy underneath, pinch them, tie back, just like that, and you can see our belly's starting to get nice and white, just like it's supposed to be. Come front again, just keep adding these little hair clumps. that. Come in like that. Another hair clump. This one to my side. Nice hard wraps, and you can really put some strength into this with this GSP 50 to 200 denier. I'm sorry. You can get away with a 175 or 145 even. This just happens to be a 100 denier thread. I mean 200 denier thread, and you could pull this thing like crazy. Really seats every one of your moves. So every time you make a move, you got her. Again, this all gets glued in, so we're not going to worry about nothing. Come back again. Let's get our yarn again. I should have a piece laying here, but I'm not. Oh, there it is. Here we go. Let's get another piece of this. Get that baby cut. Tie that in. Remember to add your belly every time. Before every step, add that belly. I'm going to do one more before we put them ears in. One more little batch before we put the ears in, and the ears will go in next. Just lay that baby right in like that. To the camera side. Lay this in on my side. Okay, just like that. And again, tie that baby in, work our way front. Let's get that leather out of the way. Again, starting the bottom. Any of these hairs that are in the road can be moved. We're going to try and make it nice and flat. Just like that. Nice and flat, just like that. Even rhymes. Okay, there we go. We're going to come in, cut that collar away. Come in, reach in, cut that collar out of there. Just like that. Let's get rid of that entire collar. Beautiful. Cut it tight. Pull that back. Let's get this baby wrapped back and tight. Check our bottom. We have a little bit of extra pieces there that we don't want. Everything is looking good that way. We're looking at a really flat profile on the bottom. I'm liking that. You see how nice and flat that is. Looking really good. The top's looking great. Remember, we trim out the mouse, so we're not worried about outer shape yet. Again, go back to another piece of your hair. Tie that in again. And now we're going to go to the leather ears. So we're going to put this baby in and we're going to give it some ears. I could pull as hard as I can, try and get it up on that little thread bump the best I could there. I'm in the back, so now I want to come right around and just catch that right there. Catch that leather, so I end up with these guys being separated. See that? Their ears are tied in, looking pretty good. Again, I'm just gonna come in and add a little bit more of belly material. I'm going to keep that front a little bit as well. So we got something here to work with. So I'll tie this in up front here like this. Tie it back. Tie that back. Actually, I don't want to tie that in yet. I got one more thing I want to do before I put that in. And I apologize for that step, but I want to do this correct. So what we're going to do is come back in behind the ears just like this. Okay, come behind them ears. Take maybe a little smaller snip of hair than what you normally would be doing. But, well, whatever. Do the same. It doesn't really matter. I got a little less hair than what I have been with the standard packs. I'm going to put that right between the ears, and we're just going to pull that baby tight, just like that. Come through twice, and you can see we have the ears on both sides. You can see that. Oh, that turned. Like I said, with this step, it's not really that critical that it stays there. It's just critical that we have everything in place. Okay, so now we have hair between the two ears. Okay, now we can come back to our piece of EP fiber to create our white belly, and we're going to tie that back right to the end like that. And then we're going to grab another snip of hair, and we're going to decorate both sides of the ears. Okay, so this one here though, I want to put about in half so I have trimming to do in the front. Okay, so I don't want to just come to the ends like I have been, like way out here. I'm going to put that more towards the middle so that I have something to trim. And again, one to the camera side, just like that, and one to my side. This stuff cleans out really easy too, real quick, real easy. One to my side. Again, just make sure your threads fall where they're supposed to, and boom. Come straight through. Now, holding both ears in place, you're going to push back the face of this, and I'm going to switch over to a little more hollow of a fur. This is caribou. You don't have to. You could continue that right out with deer hair, but I don't like to waste the other tips when I could use this stuff, and it's basically the same colors and everything else. But now I'm just spinning deer hair that I'm going to trim. And you could just wrap that baby around like that and put it on. Make sure your ears are where they're supposed to be. Everything's looking good like that. And remember, you always just keep stacking. Push it back, add another stack. 1, 2, let her go and spin that. This is actually spinning deer hair. And we push it back again. Come to the front, see how much you can get on here? It's crazy. The more you get on here, the easier it is to trim and put the shape into it that you want. If you're thin, you may have a head that looks a little bit goofy. This is looking pretty nice. I'm getting right back to the edge. I could put another one on, but I'm not gonna. I think I'm perfectly fine with that. That's gonna trim out just fine. So what I want to do now is come in, and it's much easier to whip finish this by hand. So I'm gonna come in like this, and I'm gonna finish that up. Oh, yep, that's good. Finish that up like that. Whip finish. Draw that baby tight. Isn't that perfect? See that? I just had that much to talk about using it all right there. That's all my thread gone. And here I am right at the end. So it worked out perfect for this fly. I had a backup just in case, but I figured I could get away with it, and I did. I made it by, let me see, about a foot foot of thread. Okay, anyway, flip this baby upside down. Again, start with putting this where it's supposed to be. Basically putting the white down where it's supposed to be. Come in with your scissors. Make sure your ears are where they're supposed to be. Okay, so you got one ear here, you got one ear here. Do I like that? Do I want to spun a little bit? You got to decide right now. Just make sure the ears are in place. When the ears are in place and everything back here is sitting flat, the way it's going to end up, then you could come straight in and snip this baby out just like that and flat. Okay? Got that? Remember, this will all glue down. This will all be beautiful when it's all said and done. Now we can put a little bit of it. You can see what we have there. We have a perfectly flat bottom, okay? So, come in here and just trim a little bit more out. Make sure we're flat, flat, flat. And everything's looking pretty. Okay, I want to make sure that's sitting flat, okay? Now we're going to come in and we're going to put some shape into the head. So the first thing I want to do is cut a diamond out of this. So I'm going to take my first cut and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay. Basically just like that. You can see we have a nice looking shape there. Try and get that in the bottom so you can see what's going on. And now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to come around the entire front. Everything about the same distance as what we cut. That and there. Now you got a nice puffed head. Or we came back so far. That would be the next step. We could actually continue the length of that a little bit. So now I'm just going back a little deeper. Just make sure you don't hack your ears off. This leather's a little tough to cut, so it's not like you're just going to cut them off just for something to do. Now I'm going to take that ear and I'm going to cut right next to it. Okay. I'm going to take this ear, we'll open that baby up, and I'm going to cut right next to that. I knew there was a mouse head in there somewhere, and sure enough, there it is. He is hiding in there. Now I'm going to come right behind the ear, cut that away, just like that. You see I just exposed that ear. Going to do the same on this side, where we just come in, get on the other side of that, and snip them hairs out. Work this side down, just like that. Okay, looks like we're doing pretty good. This could go down deeper. Okay, now we're starting to look like something. It almost looks like we have something going on here. Beautiful. Look like a little mouse head now poking out of there. Let me show you with the ears. There you go. Looking a little better, huh? Okay. I'm gonna just trim out some of this now and just kind of put a little bit of better face to my head. Just like that. You can see I'm just defining that shape just a little bit. I think we're looking pretty good. I'm going to do a teeny little sliver here behind it. Get them couple hairs away from right behind. And try and keep this as clean as I could get it. Go. There's a couple hairs that came out. And I want one more. You get as fussy as you want. Does it really matter? Heck no, nothing matters that much. There you go. That's about as clean as it gets right there. You see how clean that head is with the oop. And of course I jab myself again. I think I get one of them every time from that hook. Anyway, there we go. So you can see the shape of our mouse. Turn our head proper, the way it's supposed to be. Do any final trimming that you need to do on the bottom. Comb out most of this stuff here so we have good coverage everywhere, and we have a nice looking white bottom. Turn this to the side again. Wipe the blood off your fingers before you do it, and we're going to simply hold this and we're going to trim a bit of a shape into it. Just like that. Again, doing the same thing on this side. We're going to trim a bit of a shape into it. So we have something a little bit defined here. Like that. Okay, so we're getting a little better. Looking pretty good. I got to decide if I want more or less. I want a little less. So I'm going to come in and just get a little bit. Just take a little bit more off of the sides. Again, pressing down on all the fibers. You can see what we got there. It's looking really, really good. It's looking really good. We got almost everything complete. Nice looking little mouse. Beautiful tail. I like to put that. Let me put this up on here. I put a twist in it or something just because it looks better for the camera. Either way, if I could get it in there. Get it in there. There we go. Okay. There. That looks a little bit better. Now all we got to do is cut our eyes, put them in, and we have definitely got something going on. Okay? We could do the old pointy ears or whatever, goofy ears, do them all twisted up. You can put them however you want. They'll lay however they want to. Next thing we're going to do, cut some eye pockets in here. So I'm going to come in and I am going to trim out an eye pocket on this side, just like that. And I'm going to trim an eye pocket out on this side. Just like that. So we got eye pocket, everything is looking really good. You can get rid of a little bit more there. Looking pretty good with that. And we can put whatever color eyes we want in there. But the next step, going to take a brush. You see what I got here brush wise. Something like this, doesn't really matter what. Take our Dave Flex Cement, and I'm about done with this one, so I'm going to add a little bit of thinner to this, just to wet it up a bit. Again, just take your brush in there and mix that up with the thinner. We want to make sure we have glue, but we want to make sure that we have, again, very important, make sure everything's nice and flat and seated. Run this right in the center. I'm putting goop right down the middle of this. Starting the back. Make sure it's wet enough, and it should be thin enough that it gets the whole way to the shank. Okay, this is about the consistency of water that I have coming out here. Okay, and make sure you get it all in that area right there, and we could get a little bit in the sides, just like that, just to get things moist. That way we could pull this all down when it starts to tack up, and keep that completely flat. The rest goes, of course, on the head, and you can see that just drawing in beautifully. Okay, completely do the bottom, just like that. Flip her around. Let's hit this side. Again, the whole head, everything about it, even the pockets, everything. Leave that in around the ears, just like that. You can even do the sides of the ears. That kind of darkens them a little bit. Whatever you want to do. Sometimes I like to do the ears, sometimes I don't. I'm just adding, you see how it's just soaking in like crazy there. Drawn into the entire thing. And that'll go right down to the hook shank. So like I said, this thing's completely, because it's thinned enough, it's completely saturated. With that. So that's pretty much it for the thinner. We're going to put this down, and that's the Defleximet part of it. That's all gooped up. I am going to take a little of, there we go, super glue. Okay, we'll take some super glue and we're going to put that in our eye socket. This is gel, just a teeny little dot, and I know that's still wet from the Flex Cement or Soft-Tek. I use Soft-Tex a lot. I don't use Flex Cement that often. I just happen to be out of it. I'm going to grab, oh, right here they are, grab myself a pin so I can put my eyes in. And we can put whatever. Green's my favorite color. I guess we'll just do green eyes. Being that they're right in front of me. And I'm going to lay an eye in here. Beautiful. And we're just going to push that in with the pen into that pocket that we created. And there you go. Now the boy's looking at you. Get another eye for the other side and put it in that pocket. Oh, just like that. Work it in with the needle. Right in the pocket, just like it's supposed to be there, just like a little eye socket. So you can see this one here, I want a little bit of adjustment. You can play with this pretty much all you want. There, that's in the socket. The other guy's in the socket. Everything's looking pretty. I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. And that little boy's looking right at you. And that, tail back them ears a little bit, so he looks a little bit more aggressive. But anyway, that right there is the JM mouse, and you can see what the fish sees. He sees that white bottom, he sees that tail track, and he sees the head that's basically, you know, after the head that's pushed back because of the water's flowing around it, then you get the bulge. And that's exactly what a fish, or whatever, pike, big browns, you know, all them good fish, it's exactly what they would see if a mouse was swimming across the river or across a lake. And that is the JM mouse. JM on the fly, and I'm out of here.